Do you think the red pill's dying? That's something that both of us have spent a little bit of time orbiting in one form or another, either you debating it or me getting abused by it. What do you think's happening with the red pill at the moment?
Yeah, I think most stuff has probably like a 2 to 4 year shelf life for internet content. And I think it kind of came and it kind of went. Andrew Tate and the pre-trial or pre-indictment imprisonment probably hurt a bit because it took away a lot of the publicity. I think that the nature of like the conversations for the red pill stuff, I think was really bad. I think
It's interesting that he says that Andrew Tate took away from it. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate called people that follow the red pill dorks, which goes back to one of my original points of why I say that I'm red pill adjacent at this junction, is because no matter what it is that you say, people will try to bucket you in that type of content. If you're speaking to a majority male audience, enlightening them on things to be careful of as you go out in the world.
Content strategy from a lot of the red pillars, I think, was very subpar.
How so?
For me, the way that I've stayed fresh and relevant for 15 years of content creation is because I'm always finding like new stuff to talk about or a new angle to kind of like hit something from, or like I'm kind of moving on with contemporary events. I feel like for red pill stuff, I feel like I could have written the script for those shows after being on 2 of them, to where it's like, okay, guys, today we're going to talk about, does body count matter? Do guys value you for the amount of money that you make? Do women for men in divorce? Are men lonely because they're simps? It was like the same topics for like over a year, such that it became like a meme where when I would show up on a show, some of them would do like bingo cards of like, okay, well, when is the body count question coming up?
Yeah. Hypergamy.
Or are women hypergamous or not? And then it's like, and it's funny because like the questioning would always, there's a fallacy called all roads lead to Rome.
Just real quick, before he gets into the fallacy, what I find so interesting about this is that although the topics will come up so readily that you can create bingo cards or cue cards for it, but you still heard it, but still didn't understand the necessity to implement it within your own life. Because if you implemented it within your own life, then you would have had a better result in picking a young woman to marry. Because you see, a component of what RP is attempting to do is to reteach off of the backs of the decades of feminism that not only affects the young modern women of today, but also their mothers and also their grandmothers, that substantiate their boss be independent thinking, don't need no man mentality, while also shaming men for being masculine, castrating men for speaking up for themselves. That's often why we go over studies over here, such as the loneliness of men in society today. We go over old content that demonstrates the creation of feminism. I view RP as a sort of education or making men aware of the world around them, the nature of the women around them, which would be the most important decision that they will ever make within their life. And it has come up through a result of the numbers that we go over. Now, are there certain weirdos within red pill that take it too damn far? Yes, I will I will absolutely give you that point. But let's see what else.
I think if there's not, there should be one. We're basically literally, no matter how somebody answers a question, it always goes back to what you want it to. So I might say to a girl,
okay,
have you ever dated a guy? You say you don't care about guys at all. Have you ever dated a guy that's 5'5"? And the girl might be like, no, I haven't. Because you hate short guys, you know? You won't. And she's like, oh, no. Okay, have you ever dated a guy that's 5'5"? Yes, I have. Oh, when? When I was in high school, I actually dated a guy that's 5'5". Really? Are you together anymore with him? Well, no. Oh, you dumped him because he was a short king, right? Like, yeah. Or it's like, are you dating a guy that's 5'5"? He's like, yeah, I am now. It's like, oh, really? Is he rich? No, he's not that rich. Does he have a huge... Yeah, it's pretty big. Oh, hypergamous. You just want the pool boy. You're probably gonna, find a rich guy and still fuck. Like, there's always a...
Let me just argue this point just real quick. Now, do some content creators maybe do that? Yeah, sure. You're going to find them. Is it the majority of them? No, I don't think it's the majority of them. Take me, for example. The type of content that I would create around this height topic is specific to a woman that's 5'1" who won't date a guy that's 5'5", and her minimum requirement is 6'2". Shit, how many times did we watch this dynamic play out on a Kevin Samuels live stream? And it's centered around the Disney fairy tale that was created for modern women today, that they can have it all, irrespective of what it is that they brought to the table, or irrespective of what it is that they look like, or irrespective of their behavior or how they treated themselves in their womb previous to meeting you. The fact is that to overcome men succumbing to bullshit dating options, you must create content for them to speak about, or you're gonna have more young men that settle for shit like this.
If he gave you a guilt-free pass to sleep with anybody in the world, would you use it?
Yes.
Smash Drake.
He know who I'm smashing. Yeah, I'm gonna go smash Drake.
Why Drake?
Just because I think that he's sexy and I like his music.
Look at his face.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Nothing more, nothing less. He looks good and his music is fire. Like he's an idol. Like he's an idol.
I'm an idol too.
He's somebody worth smashing.
I'm an idol too.
Okay.
You are. You're my idol.
Music. All right, bet.
All right, yeah.
All right, we're good then.
Yeah.
What if she gave you a guilt-free pass?
If I had a guilt-free pass, would I use it?
He's trying to act like he don't have somebody in mind, but I feel like he does.
If the guilt-free pass meant that I was about to get $1 million, I'd use it. But I'm not thirsty to go smash any other women.
All right.
Like she's thirsty to go smash Drake.
I'm not thirsty. He asked me a question and I answered it.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
If he
Drake! Drake! This is the man that you're dating. This is the man that pays for you to go out to eat, and you dare get in public and disrespect this man about how you would have a free pass to go groupie smash Drake, a man that you don't even know? Red flag! Red flag! But not even just that. Then you get mad at him because the interviewer just asked him a question. Oh, if y'all want Red Pill to die, then you are killing men that exist in this world, just like the tall gentleman to the left, just like the boyfriend that was to the left. Men should not settle for this behavior. I don't care what she looks like, what size her breast is, or how supple the thighs are connected to the waist. You should have left her right there, my G. But see, this right here is the boss B reality that these young dudes are dating nowadays and are expected to put up with this bullshit, because if they don't, then the man is the weak one.
Andrew Tate actually is the perfect example of the all roads lead to Rome, okay? When Andrew Tate had the pretrial imprisonment, there were never going to be charges because it was all a scam. It was just a sham kangaroo court. Now that there are charges, if there wouldn't have been charges and he would have been released with no charges, no indictment, it was because obviously it was a scam, right? But now that there are charges, well, obviously, because it's a scam. Of course, they're going to make up charges. So now they're going to go to court, and if they go to court and they get, if they go to court and they beat the charges, it's because it was bullshit the whole time. But if they go to court and they're convicted, well, it's because it's bullshit the whole time. They're going to make it up always. So literally, no matter what happens, it's always because of your particular prediction of the world. So you end up with these prediction models that will predict every single event, which means they don't actually predict anything.
Yeah.
But it allows you to escape the cognitive dissonance of your predictive model not being correct. So you don't have to worry if you've got a good view, like a good blueprint of the world, because literally, no matter what happens,
it's
you've always got
bias.
a way to make sense of it in the future.
Yeah, he actually has a fantastic point right there. I've said this privately and I'll say it publicly right now. I think creating content about the Matrix and, they were trying to control you, right? Like you always win because the answer, even if you have bad behavior or bad actions, the answer is that you're being controlled. The information is not of what it seems. You know what I'm saying? Which is part of the argument against Trump and the fake news thing. Well, if everything is fake news, then what is true about you? Right. So, but I don't want to get political right here. And I'm not saying this is necessarily the Tate case, but as a content creator, it is genius to have created content where it's all a lie. Believe me, I'm the only one with the truth, which I think a component of the red pill began to spill into, that it's the truth when it's meanwhile the content creator's very subjective opinion.
This is why that 4-step process of when was the last time someone publicly admitted that they were wrong? When was the last time they surprised you? If someone came out and had a discussion about this and was like, do you know what it is? I actually think that a lot of the time I do actually see girls in relationships with guys that hypergamously I wouldn't predict that they were in a relationship with. That guy just seems to have game. It's not really about the fact that he's tall or fit or rich or has status or any of these things. He just seems to be like a really nice guy and she wants to have a family and he ends up being, you go, I wasn't expecting that. That was something that would have surprised me. You think, okay, well, that shows an evolution of talking points, but I don't know how many times. And this is why, I'm still fascinated in evolutionary psychology and intersexual and intrasexual dynamics and all of that stuff. It's still very interesting to me. But the whole, lambasting women for having standards that are too high, that never was something that really crossed my world of content creation. But even now it's like, okay, so what else is happening? How can here's an interesting angle. Here's a much more interesting angle for me for something that's contemporary and new. Yeah. This skew of young girls to the left and this skew of young guys to the right. Given the fact that most people date within their political affiliation and because politics are becoming more important to each individual person now. Yeah. That's interesting. That's like a new, okay, so what do we do? Where's this coming from and what does this mean? 30% of Democrat parents are afraid that their son or daughter would marry a Republican. That's interesting. So what about like parental pressure and how does that play into it? That's interesting. You can keep talking about the same thing, but do it with a different angle on it. Continuing to just hammer away on the same points. I don't know. It's just fair play if you have that degree of patience, maybe, to be able to just have the same conversation 1,000 times.
Shout out to Chris Williamson. I understand his point here. Chris is very smart. He's a very intellectual guy. His podcasts are very intellectual, educating type podcasts. But the fact of the matter is that a new man turns 18 every minute of every day, which is a potential new audience member. And the barrier for entry as an audience member for understanding this is little to none, because if you're a heterosexual man, then you've come across people talking about the body count thing. You've come across, well, how do I treat a woman on a first date? You've come across, right? So there's not like, let's say if you're a political streamer and you have to have like a historical background of the Israel versus Palestinian conflict, right? Like you have to be well learned and a degree of intelligence, right? Like, if you're a heterosexual guy, it's easy for you to hit on these generalized topics and then get affixed to the content. But he's absolutely right. It does require a bit of patience to continue to hit on these different topics. And I've struggled with it as well. You know, I think about my content 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a lot of educational based financial type content. People stopped clicking on those videos. And as a content creator, I made a balanced decision of, well, I know how the algorithm is going to treat me. If I do these videos, I get 90% less views. So let me make the decision to touch on these high level topics, but try to do it in a way to feed educational pills to the young man to help them understand the world around them just a bit differently or act differently in a way that's valuable to themselves.
But I don't have that in my toolbox.
The description is boring, the descriptive part, because it's the same thing over and over again. And then the prescriptive part is boring because for a lot of these movements, people don't actually give you good advice to kind of navigate it sometimes, unless you can become a top 1%er. Instead, what they try to prescribe is like a world that doesn't exist anymore. Like, this is no good because women have birth control, because women are, earning money and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, that's not changing. So you have to give advice for the world that exists now, not tell guys you have to become a top 1%er. You need to earn so much fucking money that the traditional girls or whatever will go back to liking you. It's never advice geared towards, well, how do you navigate the modern world where women don't need men as much, where women are looking for different things in relationships? How do you navigate that? It's just like, we need to go back to the days of old and everything is messed up now because of feminism and complaining and blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Is the RP dying? No. I think that it reached an inflection point over the past several years, and now it's not as popular, but is it dying? No. It's always going to be there. I think just like you have financial focused content on sectors such as YouTube, and just like you have fitness focused content on sectors such as YouTube, both those niches have reached a pinnacle point over the last 10 to 15 years that we've all seen. RP content is going to exist and needs to exist because men need to understand these things before they sign things such as wedding contracts, or before they take a woman seriously that will in public tell you and a public audience that she wants to fuck Drake. Up to your eyeballs in credit and getting taken advantage of by fraudsters? Well, go to the finance sector. Been working out for the last 10 years and you're still weak as shit? Go to the fitness center. Keep on getting disrespected by the modern woman today? Well, we got the content for you right over here. Content over here talks about that there are still fantastic women options that are out there, as long as they're not inflicted with the mind virus, as long as they don't prescribe to this modern day liberal woke, be anyone who you want to be without repercussions or consequences for your actions, as long as that they're modest, they're feminine, that they understand what submissiveness means, and they hold men up to a light and a standard because they want those men. And they value those men. And at the same time, young man, you must build yourself up to the best version of yourself so that you can be that masculine leader, so that you can be that masculine protector, so that you can make decisions to respond in a situation as opposed to just emotionally react, not putting you in a position to be able to best take care of yourself or the family around you. Is the RP dying? No. But it was co-opted by weirdos and extremists. This past weekend, I just had dinner with a couple of close content creator friends, as well as the family of Kevin Samuels. And I can't help to think, and although if you asked him at face value, he'd say, man, bump that red pill stuff, mostly because of his thoughts towards marriage. But challenging the thought process of the modern woman today is how he got famous. And even though they hated him so much for the truths that he exposed in that short time period, they often forget that he talked to men for 6 years before that. And I still think about where would the entire space be if he lived longer. The brother was absolutely a genius and well ahead of his time. And there's no doubt in my mind that his brand would have continued to go strong and he would have reached heights that would have changed the world. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre Tourism Reviews at gmail.com. Guys, go look at the links down in my description box. Some things have been changing around. I created an Amazon store, link to Patreon. Go down there, go take a look, support your boy. And I'll see you guys soon. Until next time, YouTube. Peace!